Okay, we've got a hollowed out cone, and it took a bit of work, and now I want to undo all that work and reconsider how to hollow this cone out in a different way. And you might be going, what? We're going to undo all the work we put into this? Well, yeah, that is the start of the design process. Iterating on an idea and considering alternative approaches until you settle on one that actually works. Look down here at the timeline. Each item on the timeline is a moment where we made a structural design decision. And by structural, I just mean the big picture. We decided to start with a sketch. The sketch has lots of details, but structurally, it's a sketch. We decided to revolve the sketch. We could have made the cone a different way, but we decided to use the revolve tool. And then we decided to hollow out the cone with a copy, move, combine operation. I think of those last three as really one structural decision. So let's delete that final structural decision. Let's see if we can pull off not only a hollowed out cone, but a better, more precise, and one with rounded edges hollowed out cone using only a sketch and a revolve. So right click on the combine and delete it. Right click on the move, delete that, and right click on the copy and delete it. Great. And if all these deletes are uncomfortable, feel free to click the Save button and turn your Craft Cone CAD file into version 2. This will give you a moment in time that you can return to if you want to go back and look at our previous approach. I didn't click Save at this point, but that's just my learning preference. I like to remake things a couple of times so that I can feel the knowledge absorb into my fingers before moving on. So for me, the risk of having to rebuild the initial approach isn't too scary for me. I like that kind of repetition. Okay, double click on your sketch. Let's revise it. Activate your line tool and draw a line near your hypotenuse and try to make it intentionally not parallel. Also make sure that it's not connected to any of your other shapes. So click on the blank areas of your grid for the first point and the second point. And notice that after clicking the second point, the line tool automatically asks you, would you like another line segment? And you can say no thanks by clicking on this green check mark. Good, let's make these lines parallel. Let's make this new line parallel to the hypotenuse by coming up to our constraints and clicking on the parallel constraint. Click on your hypotenuse, click on your new line, and notice how they snap into a parallel configuration. And two little icons appear communicating that these two lines are constrained to be parallel to each other. Good, now activate the trim tool and click one at a time on every line segment except for this little quadrilateral slant shape. Notice how it's still a profile. It's still fully enclosed, and therefore it is drawn with a light blue fill. Can you imagine that this is the side wall of the cone, and that now we have left a hollow, such that when we click Finish Sketch and return to our model, we already have a hollowed out cone. And we did it using only a sketch and the revolve operation. And you might have noticed along the way, when trimming, that this warning popped up. Constraints and/or dimensions were removed during operation. What does that mean? When I deleted some of those line segments, I deleted constraints that were attached to them, like my square corner constraint from when I initially made my triangle. During this phase of the design process, with heavy revision going on, constraints are going to come and go, so I am not at all concerned by that warning. Okay, this may look like exactly the same cone, but we've actually done a lot of work preparing to solve the issue of the pointy top, which we will do next.